Welcome to the B-Sides and Beers podcast.
Welcome to B-Sides and Beers, episode 94. Tonight we're talking Kendrick Lamar. What's going on, guys?
Hey, man.
Hey, buddy.
Good to see you, buddy.
How you doing?
Much better than I have been in the past 2 weeks, and getting over some diseasey, sicky things.
Ew.
And, other than that, we're aces.
Yeah, man, we're all
Ew.
infected. We're just all, we talked about this right before this, we're all kind of just infected with worms and germs and pink eyes.
Yuck. Oh, well, tail end of it, so.
Yeah, totally.
Hopefully.
What are you guys drinking there? Michael, why don't you start? You're top left in my world.
I'm gonna start here with an offering from Parallel 49.
Yeah, you are.
It's a psychedelic time machine.
Ooh.
It's a 6.4% IPA with like peach and mango flavors, and
it's good. Spaced out looking Gandalf
and a spaced out
Look at
stoner
that.
wizard dude. Yeah.
Nice.
like that can.
Yeah. Steve Kitchen crushed this one again too.
Did you know their Sour Panda just won some huge award? Like best sour in the world or something like that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good for them.
Dave, what do you got?
That's right.
I got myself a Bubble Kush tonight. Heading off the beaten path there. With a little bit of, what do we got here? 10 milligrams of THC and 1 milligram of CBD for that relaxation vibe.
Love it. Nice. I'm drinking Coors
Nice.
tonight.
A banquet.
Drinking Coors, but a banquet.
At least
man.
it's a banquet.
Yeah, a banquet.
At least it's
beer.
a fancy banquet.
Totally. And I just gotta say, like, I went on the Coors tour when I was in Golden, Colorado, and I highly recommend that because much like the Granville Island Brewing tour, there was a immense amount of free beer at the end of the tour. So it was the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that nobody wanted to drink either. And they make like Blue Moon and all that kind of stuff too. So we learned a lot, and then we drank a lot of beer in the lobby. So
yeah, pay $20 and nobody else wants it, so you might as well drink it all.
It was just a hell of a deal. So, but it was an interesting tour because like a grand scale brewery that I had never really seen before. It was just on display, so that was kind of cool.
What's the brewery? Is it Coors or is it like one of those mega weird names?
No, it's
Okay.
Coors right in Golden. Yeah. We were just talking about that. We went to Denver for like 2 days and 3 days, and it was a blast. We had a good time there, but the Coors, we wanted to go out there. We thought we were going to see the Clydesdale horses, and then realized that was Budweiser. So we were like, there is no horses there. So. No. Yeah. Kendrick Lamar.
That's right.
Talk to me about whose pick and why.
That was my pick, and why is because I've been completely obsessed with all things Kendrick Lamar for the past couple of weeks now. And yeah, it's I started off when Damn came out.
Damn.
A couple of years back. Damn. And it caught me then. I don't know why I didn't. I think I played it for about a month or two, and then I just got into some other stuff. And then recently it's all out. It's all out, and I'm completely hooked. So
it's good stuff. My left stroke just went viral.
Why do you guys think he got so big?
Just extreme talent and no bullshit. Extreme talent, no bullshit. I've kind of started equating him to kind of like Prince almost. Like that kind of an artist where it's not always always poppy and mainstream, but it's so deep and just there's so many layers to it that you hear his bars and you have to stop and rewind and process it, right? And just the amount of music that he is putting out, the amount of material that he has in such a small time, or a short time frame, it's unreal. And the depth of it, it's not like he's, it's not like Drake where he's just pissing out these stupid albums with writers and well, that's all it is. And I mean, you get into Kendrick stuff and it's there's so many layers, man. It's
getting
unreal.
straight to the feud.
Yeah, right to that. I got to ask you guys questions about that too. But I agree, and it's kind of like it borders on like accessible and progressive.
Yeah,
I think
totally
right. Like, and that's something that not very many can do. And we kind of talked about this in Sleep Token even last week in that sense too, right? Like it's just kind of borderlines on that. It still can he can still play stadiums and fill stadiums, but at the same time, there's a massive message behind it, right? And that's kind of why it got to that point, right? That's what I think on that. So.
There's the raw talent aspect too, which is like evident. Like the first time I heard him was Big Sean, 2013 Control, and like he outdoes Big. He's like his feature is like the best in that whole song. He totally outdoes Big Sean.
He had a feud with him too, didn't he?
I'm not sure. Maybe eventually. And I'll get into my theory in that a little bit later on. And then there was the BET Awards cipher that he did with a bunch of other cats, and he just killed it. It was unreal. And like you said, it sort of borders accessible and progressive, but it's just raw talent. And I think that aggressive kind of beefy side of Kendrick Lamar is one thing, and then he does the other stuff, which is the very thoughtful, self-reflective, really I don't know if you call it smart rap or whatever you want to call it, but like you have to rewind it just like you said, T, and listen to it again, and like it's hard. Like I feel like I'm way out of touch when I listen to a track. Like I have to like go on Reddit and like, what does this mean?
And it's like it's so deep, and from every album to album, it's completely different, and the producers that he gets and the collaborations that he does, it's ridiculous, man. I mean, when you look at To Catch a Butterfly and just the amount of perfect musicians. We had talked about
Thundercat's on there
on a past episode, and he was all over that album, and just the caliber of people he surrounds himself with is mind blowing.
I always like to look at like who the producers are, or of these albums that we look at and stuff. You look at like To Pimp a Butterfly, and there's like 40 producers on it, right? And I'm just like, oh, it's not just like one dude that just did this. It wasn't just Jay-Z, H to the Izzo.
Yeah. But I think he really blew up, like became mainstream on that. What was that track? Humble.
I'd like that good. What's the Good Kid, Mad City, Good Child, whatever
Good
that
Kid,
one
Mad
is.
City.
Great album.
Yeah, that's the one that I listened to like when it came out, and I remember, I remember listening to it like in my band room, and like there was a kid that came in that was in there afterwards, and they're like, "You listen to this?" I was like, yeah, I was just like kind of checking it out because he was like that was the first time I had heard of him at that time, right? So, but I like that album, like. That one's good, and it reminds me of my old van on the cover of that album. Every time I look at it, the old Think Not Think van. Doesn't it look like
Voyager.
the '90 Voyager?
Oh, definitely.
Yep, definitely. It's got that look to it too. So maybe that's what drew me to it. But I love that album. Sorry to cut you off on that, Dave, but that was kind of where I jumped into.
Yeah, and maybe I got a different perspective because I was in Holland at the time, and that's the one that everyone was singing, and dancing too. But yeah, that album was great. That was the one that I put some serious time into, like the first album I put serious time into. But like you said, T, they're all different, and some of them I haven't put too much time in because they're not as accessible as like the first ones.
Right. Yeah.
But
that's a criticism too, though, that I read that he was like riding the coattails off of the first albums.
Right.
And that's,
No.
I read a lot of that kind of stuff too on Reddit.
And possibly the guys
yeah,
that took him on tour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, right?
Yeah. That's a whole lot of not understanding him.
And
it's ridiculous.
what's with him and Kanye and the like Crown of Thorns too? I don't know what is that?
Well, the from what I understand is the fans have kind of put him in this almost savior kind of a pedestal, and that's it's sort of playing to that to a point.
Got it.
So
Got it.
Okay.
yeah,
Because I was like, I thought he was Jewish.
and now it's just kind of gone to just an artistic thing. Pardon?
I thought he was Jewish. What is that? What I? But
Yeah.
I mean, 71 million monthly listeners, man. Like,
Yep.
on this, on Spotify alone.
Yeah.
So
and just coming from Compton and making his way through that through that space and time to get out unscathed by just your neighborhood and your the society in where he grew up. I mean, it right from the start, his dad and his uncles and whatever, they were all about the gang life. And then how do you get past that? How do you get out of that area, and how do you blow up to the point that you did? It's unreal. And you there's these watched a lot of interviews, and he just seems like a really down to earth dude. There's no games, there's no bullshit, there's no none of that. It's just he is what he is, and it's it's a form of genius. I mean, it's crazy.
well, hey man, he was at the California Dreamin' video shoot.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, he was there with his dad. I think he was like 8 years old, but he
Yeah.
was at that video shoot. It's on his dad's shoulders, it said. So I was like, that's kind of cool.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question.
But yeah, like if sorry, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, T, what you said. Does that kind of pedigree matter anymore? Because it's like every rapper. It's like, and if they don't have it, then they go out and they get themselves arrested. So they do got that rap sheet so they can rap about it. Like, does that stuff matter
That's what
anymore?
I was saying at
No.
the beginning. Yeah, that's why that's why I said, like, why did he get so big? Because like, why is he different than every other
Yep.
guy that came out of
It's-
Compton after everybody else that came out of Compton? It was like, okay, well, why is this guy different? And I understand lyrically and musically and all that kind of stuff, but it's another one of those artists that, like, when I did the research on it, and you guys have seen this too, where it's just like all of a sudden he's big. Like, it's just like he got signed to a label and he's big. And I'm like, how, okay, back it up. Like, how did he even meet the guy for the label? Like, how did this all happen, kind of thing, right? It's just like all of a sudden he's massive. And I'm like, I missed a section there. Like, what happened? And, and then he's big. So, yeah, it's just kind of weird. Like, if Maestro Fresh West came out of Compton, like, how big would he have been?
Yeah. Well, it's a big thing of it too. Is I just found it very refreshing because the hip hop that I listen to, the majority of it is the same sort of, it's guns and drugs, and it's killing and this and that. And when you listen to Kendrick, he doesn't approach it in that way. I mean, he'll speak about it to a point, but it's not like he's not putting out like he came from that direct life where he was, putting in the work and like, it's just,
Yeah, it's not like 50 Cent.
No.
Like he's not talking about that kind of stuff for sure, right?
He's not
like,
ghetto shining.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Not.
It's just different, man. It's
What I
another
love
level,
is the fact that he still uses. Okay, so let's get into the beef because he's been doing it since 2013. And I think the first instance was that Big Sean Control, and then after he did that whole big thing on that cypher, the BET Awards, and he just called out everybody, which was great. And interviews afterwards, he was saying like, "Well, that's the name of the game. It's to make it competitive, and it's to get everyone fired up." And he continued to do it with Drake, and Drake got a little bit upset and hurt by it. Yeah,
I'm upset.
Yeah, exactly. And it's almost as if he is being a troll, but he's doing it in a way that, he's not flexing his guns and saying I'm the biggest this and that and I'm gonna murk you and blah blah. But he's just like these subtle little digs make Drake crazy.
Yeah. But it's not even subtle, man. If you go deep into the last 3 tracks that Kendrick put out,
now it's like a spectacle.
And how quickly, how quickly he put these things out, and how deep it is, and you're watching him and you're listening to him, and it's like it's almost something out of the Matrix where he takes this idea and he like switches it around in different places and then looks at a completely different angle and then attacks that.
It's really
crazy.
What did Drake do to him?
Not much.
It's just calling out, and he's trying to, Drake, for some reason he's massive, but it seems like he's trying to get more street cred or something, and he's just a melodrama teen actor from Toronto that has never done a bad thing in his life other than maybe being a pedo or whatever, but he's straight up not gangster, but he's trying to do this, and he puts out these albums where he's trying to have these Haitian accents and he's trying to be more than what he is, but he's not. So,
and Kendrick calls him on it, and by virtue of technology, they're able to like release diss tracks within 24 hours of each other, which is crazy. And people eat it up. People love it. It's super entertaining. And if they both aren't in on it, and the only thing that makes it kind of lame is the whole gunfire at Drake's house in front of his house. But besides that,
is that connected?
No, that doesn't seem connected at all.
Crazy fan, maybe.
Why would anyone waste their fucking time?
Yeah,
it's stupid. Anyway,
but
I don't know. It's funny. It's kind of like it's like a WWE thing,
totally.
A little bit. Like, you know what I mean? Barking at other people, because like I think about like going back to my material. If I was like, oh yeah, 15 years later, like that's my Drake diss tracks, I'd be like, who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Like it'd be one of those things like after the fact, but like I understand that it's just a ploy to get more listens and get more connection with that. Like I understand it, it's obviously working, so that's fine. But it's just
I can see that being from Drake's angle for sure. He just wants to elevate himself to something, but Kendrick's just like, nah, we're done. And it's nice that you look at Drake's really uneventful diss tracks, and then Kendrick's just like bang bang bang, here you go. And then in the last one he's talking about, okay, well, here's 1 2 3 4 5 and I got a +5. It's like, I got so many more here behind you, don't even try, because I'm just gonna keep sweeping you under the table.
They just need to wrap off. They just need
a good old fashioned wrap off.
Stupid
spaghetti.
Well, they can't. They couldn't fit all of Drake's writers on stage to do a battle. So all his ghostwriters. So I mean, they couldn't do it. But it's true.
Yeah, get the AI hologram out there, man.
Lay it down. But all that, I mean, like, yeah. Kendrick is swinging kind of low though. in some of this stuff. Like that's I mean, I think everyone loves to love Kendrick Lamar because he is, like you said, is that kid out of Compton who blew up and supposedly is one of the best rappers ever in the world ever. But then, like, you know, he's done some like stuff to he's picked on Drake a little bit too much, maybe. Like straight up calling someone a pedophile. I mean, that's not nice. Is he?
That's not nice.
But it's getting into
Oh,
stuff which is a
man.
little bit like right now within like the cultural zeitgeist. It's a bit sensitive, right? Because we got the puffy shit happening and like all of a sudden this happens too,
Yeah.
like right around the same time. So is that a little bit
That's been
like
kind of
I don't-
going on
it's
for a
not
while.
clout chasing, but is Kendrick using the unfortunate stuff that's happened with Puff and his
No.
bad deeds
No.
and using it to leverage his because Kendrick Lamar, yeah, I haven't really listened to him in a few years, but now I am because he's calling Drake a pedophile. Like, we don't got to be calling people pedophiles to get streams.
There's enough stories and there's enough background to it that it could be like it's leaning more to the could be instead of the allegedly. It's probably. I mean, when they get the stories of Drake trying to get with 13-year-old girls and shit. It's like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Fucking shut it down.
These beefs have been happening for years, though, in the rap industry, right? I mean, this is not.
Oh, beefs have been around forever, man. There's been some amazing beefs.
Yeah, maybe there's an episode just in itself on just rap beefs.
Oof.
I think so. That would be a very deep one, man.
In the history of it, right? Like,
yep.
It's just funny that no one really any other genre kind of does this, right?
Country
like
beefs.
Yeah, like big old country beefs or jazz beefs, something like that. Like, it just doesn't happen. Maybe it does, and we don't know about it. But, and I read too on his Wikipedia page that he is the only musician outside of a jazz and classical musician to win the Pulitzer Prize in Music. And I was
Unreal. Unreal.
Kind of floored me. I was just like, out of everybody, like even in the rock, like in the history, like we're talking like John Lennon, all these guys, whatever, right?
Leonard Cohen?
Yep.
Leonard Cohen, like poets, you name it.
Yep.
It's him. So I was like, that's pretty amazing.
That's a hot fact
man.
right there.
I can see it after.
It is a hot fact.
That is a hot.
It's a backdoor hot
I thought
fact.
you were going to say a backdraft fact.
Backdraft fact. Yeah, something like that. Well, and there's the other one too, because I read too that DMX, It's Dark and Hell is Hot is one of his favorite albums. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, I listened the hell out of that album back in 1998 when it came through the music store and got my free play copy of that. Still have it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so, and then I went back to listen to that, and that was like a bit of a rabbit hole for a bit. I'm listening to DMX tomorrow, and I'm all excited about it.
I love the ADHD sidetracks.
Yeah.
DMX would be a good
Yeah.
one.
Well, yeah, we should get into that. There's the whole issue with the what is it, the big three, which is kind of funny. Have you ever put in any time to J. Cole?
That whole thing is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's such a waste. I mean, when you look at those three, and I don't know how Drake is in the conversation at all, and J. Cole definitely could be in the conversation, but everything I've dug into, it just seems kind of meh. Like his bars are very meh, and it's I don't know, it didn't do anything for me. But when you get to Kendrick, there's just so many layers.
He's on a completely different level. I mean, it's just saying stuff like that is going to get you press, I think, because it's so absurd. It's like Machine Gun Kelly going after Eminem. Like, who paid who? What's going on here, guys? This is kind of silly.
Yeah. I had to give you a career to destroy it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of the stuff goes super duper duper deep. So I mean, I don't know. I'm so out of the loop that again, like I was kind of going through some of these lyrics with some of these like diss tracks that both these guys are putting out, and I'm like, what? I kind of get it. There's so many references, and when you take some time and look into them, they're really smart. But man, most of that stuff goes over my head. If I'm just listening to it, doing something, I'm not catching 98% of what they're talking about, which is unfortunate because that's where the value is. That's where the boof of the beef is.
Yeah. And that's another reason why, like, I know why he deserves to be as popular as he is, but at the same time, I don't understand how he's so popular because his songs are so deep and his albums are so different. And you know, you look at the mass audience of the world and how they consume music, and most of it is just, you know, it's background music and stuff that I can dance to in the club, and then it's very passive, and it's most of it's just like a like an accessory like a bracelet or something. Like it doesn't carry any weight, and this song is great for 3 weeks, and then who gives a shit? But with Kendrick stuff, it's hard to fathom how that many people stay with him. But at the same time, it's like, how deep are your fans willing to go? And they're willing to go pretty damn deep. So,
and I think it's the message too, right? And I think a lot of
definitely
that stuff goes over our heads because we're not in that lived experience, I think too, right? Like when he's talking about Black Lives Matter, I mean, I can pick up on that, but like to actually know what he's talking about, it's pretty hard to pick that up. But I know a lot of that's going on too in his lyrics as well, right? So but it's interesting to pull it back because there's not a lot of other rappers that I have looked at lyrics to pull those apart like his. You know what I mean? Because it just, most of it, like you said, Mike, is just guns and, you know, sirens at the start of every song, right?
Yeah, totally.
And that's just what you listen to.
Yeah, and another sort of aspect that jumped out at me was his, I guess, I can kind of put him together, like I said, with Prince, but also with like GZA from Wu-Tang. You know, GZA the Genius. The wordplay that he uses, and how deep he can go to, you know, take an idea and flip things around and change the meaning to make it flow differently. It's very similar in my opinion. I don't know. That's kind of what jumped out at me, but you throw some of that with some Tupac charisma, and there you go, right? There's Kendrick.
All right, we want you guys to subscribe, share, and review this podcast. Keep it going, keep it strong, because we're having a great time entertaining you guys with B-Sides and Beers podcast.